World War II is often remembered as a conflict dominated by tanks, aircraft, and massive infantry armies. But hidden behind the headlines of famous battles was another vehicle that quietly shaped the war: the armored car. Armored cars were not built to replace tanks. They were built for speed, mobility, and information. In a war where knowing the enemy's position could mean survival or defeat, armored cars became the eyes and ears of modern armies. At the beginning of World War II, most nations already understood the importance of reconnaissance. Commanders needed fast vehicles that could travel long distances, patrol roads, scout enemy territory, and report back quickly. Armored cars filled this role perfectly. Unlike tanks, armored cars were wheeled vehicles. This allowed them to move faster on roads and required less maintenance. They carried lighter armor and smaller weapons, but their real strength was flexibility. Armored cars were used to escort convoys, protect supply lines, screen advancing armies, and probe enemy defenses. They were often the first vehicles to enter newly captured territory. One of the most famous armored cars of the war was the American M8 Greyhound. Introduced in 1943, the M8 Greyhound was designed for reconnaissance units of the United States Army. It was fast, reliable, and well-armed for its size. The M8 carried a 37mm cannon along with machine guns, allowing it to defend itself against enemy infantry and light vehicles. In Europe, the M8 Greyhound played a vital role during the Allied advance after D-Day. Reconnaissance units used it to move ahead of infantry divisions, identifying enemy positions and monitoring retreating German forces. However, the M8 had weaknesses. Its armor was thin, making it vulnerable to mines and anti-tank weapons. Crews relied on speed and awareness rather than firepower for survival. Despite its limitations, the M8 demonstrated the value of fast armored reconnaissance. Its influence can still be seen in modern reconnaissance vehicles. Britain entered the war with a strong tradition of armored car development. British forces had already learned valuable lessons during earlier conflicts and colonial campaigns. One of Britain's most effective armored cars was the Daimler Armoured Car. Compact and well-designed, it featured surprisingly strong armor for its size and a 2-pounder gun similar to those used on early British tanks. The Daimler Armoured Car proved especially effective in North Africa. In the open desert, speed and reliability mattered more than heavy armor. British armored car units conducted long-range patrols, monitored enemy movements, and disrupted supply lines. British doctrine emphasized reconnaissance as a continuous process rather than a single mission. Armored cars were expected to operate independently, often far from friendly forces. Germany also placed great importance on armored reconnaissance. During the early years of the war, German armored cars supported the rapid advances of the Blitzkrieg strategy. One of the most common German armored cars was the Sd.Kfz 222. This light armored car featured an open-top turret armed with a 20mm autocannon. It was fast, agile, and effective against infantry and lightly armored targets. German armored cars often advanced ahead of tank units, identifying weak points in enemy defenses. This information allowed German commanders to exploit gaps quickly. However, as the war progressed, conditions changed. Allied air superiority made open-top armored cars increasingly vulnerable. Mines, ambushes, and fuel shortages further reduced their effectiveness. The Soviet Union approached armored car design differently. Operating across vast distances and harsh terrain, Soviet vehicles prioritized simplicity and ruggedness. The BA-64 was one of the most widely used Soviet armored cars of the war. Built on a truck chassis, it featured sloped armor and a machine gun turret. While lightly armed, it was reliable and easy to produce. The BA-64 served mainly in reconnaissance, security, and convoy escort roles. It was well suited for the Eastern Front, where rough roads and extreme weather challenged more complex vehicles. Japan also employed armored cars, though in more limited numbers. Japanese armored cars were used primarily in China and Southeast Asia, where road networks were narrow and terrain was difficult. Vehicles such as the Type 92 armored car supported infantry operations and internal security. Japan's limited industrial capacity and fuel shortages restricted large-scale armored car deployment. Across all theaters of war, armored cars shared common strengths and weaknesses. They offered speed, mobility, and flexibility, but sacrificed protection and firepower. World War II highlighted the increasing importance of information in warfare. Armored cars helped commanders see the battlefield clearly, often before fighting even began. By the end of the war, military planners had learned valuable lessons from armored car operations. Post-war armored reconnaissance vehicles combined the speed of armored cars with improved protection and communication systems. Modern reconnaissance vehicles trace their origins directly to the armored cars of World War II. Although they rarely appear in popular histories, armored cars played a crucial role in shaping battlefield decisions. They did not seek glory, they sought information. And in modern warfare, information is power.